In 2007, when I was 59 years old, a severe chest pain started suddenly about half a mile away from our home. It felt like a pipe had burst open on my chest and extended from my chest to my neck veins and then reached my right hand all the way down to my wrist. At that point, I felt such intense pain that I couldn't take a step anymore. It was the evening of a Ramadan month, close to the Maghrib call to prayer. A man was watering a garden with a hose nearby. I managed to jump over and grab the hose, drank some water, and felt a bit better. I went back home. Normally, we walk about 10 to 15 kilometers a week. The next day, I went out of the house, and before I could reach 150 meters, the same pain hit me again. I had to sit on the ground. This pain repeated 2 or 3 times. That's when I went to see a doctor. They conducted exercise tests on me, and when the doctor saw the test results, he said I needed to undergo an angiography as soon as possible. I was taken for an angiography, where it was revealed that 4 of my heart arteries were blocked, with some parts having double blockages. My heart arteries were so thin that angioplasty was not possible. They brought me out and informed me that open heart surgery was the only option for me. I was not at all afraid of the operation and was not worried. I would tell everyone around me that nothing would happen. We would either go to the operating room, live, or die. I went to the operating room at 7 in the morning, and it was 7 or 8 in the evening when I regained consciousness. After an hour or 2 had passed, I started feeling worse. I wanted to talk, but one person standing next to me didn't let me and indicated there was a tube in my mouth so I couldn't speak. They kept telling me not to speak, and I didn't understand why. Eventually, I wrote on my knee that I needed a nurse. The nurse came, saw my note, and took care of my needs. I felt like my time was up. I wrote down everything I needed to communicate as I felt that my death was near. After that, I don't remember anything. They put me under anesthesia again. The next morning, I regained consciousness in the recovery room. They told me I needed 3 months of rest. The first month and a half was crucial. Around 15 months after the surgery, we went for a checkup at the hospital. The doctor had not arrived yet. They had told me not to walk, but being an avid walker, I walked for half an hour. However, as soon as I did, the pain in my chest cage returned. I told my wife that I wasn't feeling well. I pushed myself until I couldn't continue, then sat on the ground. From that moment on, I don't remember what happened next. My wife said that when she saw me, I was lying on a bench, and my eyes had turned completely white. At that moment, first of all, I saw the sky, uniformly blue and beautiful. I didn't feel anything at that moment. However, in those moments, I still saw the faces of the birds flying in the sky. Also, I saw faces like human faces with uniformly round shapes. Their feathers were green, and they were very tall. This shade of green was so unique that I had never seen it before in my life. This spectrum of green was so special that I had never seen it before. It was very pleasant and peaceful. Countless birds with human-like faces were telling me, "Come, come, come." With each come, I took a step higher. At that moment, a celestial being had placed my body in a box and was watching it. I felt like I was looking at my body from outside. While still hearing and seeing the birds in the picture with my eyes, I felt so light and attracted that I was excited to go up. Suddenly, I stopped. A sound echoed in my ears. I came to a halt and didn't go up anymore. I was struggling because why did I stop? And what force was holding me back? The person I mentioned, who was standing in a corner and watching my body, was just a spectator. He didn't have any particular feelings about the situation. He was both far away from me and so close as if he was just 4 steps away from me. I felt like I was viewing that body from a distance, and at the same time, it felt like I was in the sky. However, the agony I was experiencing was in my physical body. The one who was being summoned and had the perception and was ascending step by step was my physical body. Later, I realized that my wife was embracing me and tapping me, and the sound I was hearing in my ear was probably my wife's voice. The energy that was holding me was the energy my wife was expending to preserve me. At that moment, I felt suspended horizontally between the ground and the sky. People had gathered around us. When I opened my eyes, about 100 people had gathered around me. At that time, one of the doctors asked for a wheelchair, and I was taken to the emergency room on a wheelchair. I was hospitalized in the emergency room for a week, and then we returned home. I had another near-death experience. In 1986, four of us were playing with a ball in the Caspian Sea, a sea in the north of Iran. We had ventured into the depths and lost track of time. One of us had left the sea, and the three of us continued playing. I felt my body getting exhausted and that I needed to return to the shore. When I wanted to make my way towards the shore, I realized I had no swimming energy left. I said I would pause for a moment and then go to the beach. As I stood still, I noticed a large amount of water above my head, and I had to swim towards the shore until my feet touched the seabed. I emerged from the water and shouted for help. Since I have a humorous personality, everyone thought I was joking, and no one came to my aid. They might have come to help me, but they would have drowned as well. I wanted to swim towards the shore, but my arms and legs couldn't move. I gradually went under the water. The water level rose above my head, and in a matter of seconds, I saw my life from 6 months old until the moment I was drowning. I didn't recall this in retrospect. Instead, I saw it with my own eyes, like watching a very fast-paced film. I saw the first year of my life rapidly pass me by, like showing you a film at high speed. When I had not yet turned 1 year old, the doctors had told my family that there was no hope for my survival. Thus, my family took me to Mashhad for prayers for my recovery at the Imam Reza shrine. In Mashhad, I remembered my father praying, and I remembered my father's red seal bag. The seal is a small cylindrical object that Shia Muslims place on their forehead during prayers. I mentioned all these details, and they were confirmed. I saw my father praying, and my older brother, who was 4 years older than me, was holding a jug of water and coming towards us. I specifically remembered shedding tears for no reason. My father gestured with his hands, my brother placed the jug on the ground, and my father embraced me. Only this scene remained etched in my memory. Even remember where we were seated on the bus, and I cried for no reason, and my mother breastfed me. The glass from which I drank the milk was similar to the lemonade glasses used today. It wasn't a special milk glass. I remember that at that time, when we were in Mashhad, I was very ill. I gazed at the candlelight on the wall. My mother said that I was very unwell that night, and everyone assumed that I was going to die. My father goes to the tomb of Imam Reza and prays for me there. My mother is by my side. When my father returns home, he tells my mother that our son will recover. My mother asks, "How can you say something like that?" My father explained to her that he dreamt when he was there, and in his dream, he saw that our son's life had ended, but then he was given a new life. My mother said, "That's interesting. I had a similar dream. On the way back from Mashhad, I was completely healed, and there was no trace of illness in me. At a stop between buses next to a well, 2 cows came to drink water. One of them lost control and fell into the well. People got off the bus to help the cows. My father wanted to help, but my mother didn't allow it. I remember the moment when my mother told my father to sit down and not go, vividly. Underwater, as I was drowning, all these scenes flashed before my eyes. Just as I thought it was the end, that I was going to die, without any fear of death, but only concern for my family seeing the distress, I saw my head and neck emerge from the water. A protrusion had appeared under my feet, on which I stood. After my exhaustion subsided, I swam to the shore. This experience is just one of the experiences of near-death individuals. Over 100 experiences will be published on this channel. For more experiences, subscribe to my YouTube channel.